You're listening to the Lavender Witch podcast. We're here to talk about all things related to queer spirituality with a focus on witchcraft and pagan practices. In this place, you are welcome, you are valued, and your story matters. I'm your host, Sam Wise. I'm an author, a columnist, a pagan priestess, and a real-life queer witch. Thanks for joining me today. Today's episode is going to be short and sweet because, to be totally honest, I have been sick this week and needed something that would be quick and easy to record, but would also be of value to my listeners. So this week we are going to discuss a spell that you can cast to strengthen your community, because I feel like that is something that we are all needing right now. Before we get into the meat of our episode and start talking about community and spell work, I do have just a couple of items of housekeeping. First, I want to apologize if you can hear my air conditioner in the background of this episode. Normally, I would switch it off while recording so that it's a little bit less noisy, but it is very warm right now, and as I said, I'm recovering from being sick, so thank you for bearing with me with the fan in the background. On a happier note, my book, Lavender Witchcraft, is officially out in the United Kingdom as of this recording, and will be out in the United States very soon. It releases in the US on September 1st, so just a few days after this episode goes live, and you can find it on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, or wherever you like to get your books. And all of that will be linked in the show notes for you if that's something that interests you. As always, there is no pressure to purchase. And I am beyond excited to be partnering with one of the oldest independent feminist bookstores in the country, Karis Books and More, for a book launch event at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, September 19th, 2026. We'll be celebrating both in person at Karis Books in Atlanta, Georgia, and online with a virtual hybrid option. So no matter where you are in the world, you are welcome to join us. And that will be linked for you in the show notes as well. I hope to see you there. The event is free, both in person and online, and it's going to be just a really great celebration of queer spirituality and community. Speaking of community, the spell that I wanted to share with you all today is inspired by a really excellent book called How We Show Up: Reclaiming Family, Friendship, and Community by Mia Birdsong. And I first had this idea for a spell while I was reading this book, where Birdsong really talks about the importance of community and of acknowledging our interdependence. In that book, Mia Birdsong argues that the deep loneliness and isolation in modern U.S. American culture is a product of what she calls American Dreamism. This ideology saturates every aspect of our culture, and it says that to be successful, we need to be totally independent and self-sufficient. It says that to be happy, we need to successfully perform social norms like heteronormativity, monogamy, and the nuclear family. It says that we must see other people as competition and keep them at an arm's length. As Birdsong writes, the American dream is white supremacy culture bound up with capitalism and patriarchy. And she also talks about how this is also present in other Western cultures as well. It's not just the United States. And again, I highly recommend that y'all read How We Show Up for Yourselves. But before we get into the spell, I just wanted to share a few of my main takeaways from the book. 1. Our healing and growth is entwined with the healing and growth of others. 2. We can build our own families beyond biology and legal ties based on shared experiences and values. 3. Our culture encourages us to rely only on romantic partners for help and support, but there is no reason friends can't fill this role for each other. 4. When we reject American Dreamism, we realize that we can prioritize and honor our friendships the same way we might a romantic relationship. And 5, when we expand our definition of family, we create support networks that make it easier to overcome life's challenges. So with these lessons in mind, I created the following spell for strengthening our community, whatever that may look like. For this spell, you will need to create an artistic representation of your community. You can do this with any medium or materials that you want. Here are a few ideas to get you started, but absolutely feel free to brainstorm outside of this. This should be an expression of your creativity. Some ideas to help with your brainstorming. You could weave a web of community using an embroidery hoop and thread or embroidery floss in different colors. We can use a spider's web as inspiration and weave together the threads that make up our support network. So for example, you could use different colors of thread to represent different types of relationships, like blood red for your legal or biological family, or pink for romantic partnerships. And from here, you can add in more colors to represent the different identities, feelings, and qualities that hold your community together, like maybe green for a shared love of the environment and of nature. And if you'd like, you could place a jewelry charm in the center of the web to represent your place in your community. Another idea is to map out a relationship garden inspired by permaculture. In How We Show Up, Mia Birdsong writes about the work of Lawrence Barriner II, a communications strategist who applied to his friendships a system of zones inspired by permaculture. So zone 1 holds the people that he's closest to, and then it moves further and further out until zone 5 is people that he doesn't know exists. So you could create your zones on a blank sheet of paper by creating 5 nested circles. So it's a circle inside a circle inside a circle, and so on. And you can fill in each ring with a different colored pencil or crayon. Then in each zone, you can write the names of the people who fall into that zone for you. So, for example, for me, zone 1 would include my spouse and my roommate, the people that I see every day and spend the most time with. Zone 2 would include my extended family and my very close friends. Zone 3 would include like acquaintances and old friends that I don't really talk to very frequently anymore, and so on and so on. Another idea is to create a community collage. So for this, you'll either need access to a printer or a stack of old magazines, plus scissors, glue, and plenty of space to work. So you'll want to start with a blank sheet of paper, either white or another color that resonates with you. And if you're using a printer, go ahead and search online for images that remind you of different aspects of your community, like a bubbling cauldron for your witchy friends, a playground for your children, etc. You can print these images out, or if you're using magazines, you can flip through and cut out any pictures that remind you of your community. Once you've gathered your cutout pictures, you can arrange them on the blank paper in a way that reflects the rich diversity of people in your life. Once you're happy with the placement of all the pictures, go ahead and glue them down. And then for my friends who are maybe a little bit less crafty or a little bit less visual minded, maybe you could write a love poem celebrating all of your relationships. If you're more comfortable with words than with images, try writing a poem about the people in your community. Any poetic structure works. You could do rhyming couplets, limericks, haiku, free verse, whatever speaks to you. Just make sure your poem mentions specific people and groups and what they bring to your community. And don't be afraid to go through several drafts. And of course, if you have another idea of a way to creatively represent your community through art or writing, that absolutely works just as well. Whatever speaks to you is going to be what works best for this. For the spell, you will also need a candle, and if you can't use an open flame, an LED candle is totally fine. You may also want to have a notebook or journal on hand, but that's optional. I recommend trying to create a ritual mood as you are making your representation of your community. So this might mean meditating before you start working, or burning incense, or listening to a playlist of songs about family and community while you work, or anything else that you need to do to set the mood. Once you've finished your art, choose a special place to display it. If you have a designated altar, that would be a really great place for this. If you don't have an altar or don't have room for the art on your altar, choose a place where you'll see it often and where it won't be damaged. This could be in a picture frame on your desk, or stuck to your refrigerator with magnets, or taped to the mirror where you get ready in the mornings. Now you're going to place your candle near the representation of your community. At least once a week, light the candle and sit near it. Look at your art or read through your words and focus your thoughts and energy on your community. Think about what's going on in your community right now. What wins are they celebrating? What problems are they facing? What do they need from you, and what do you need from them? After several moments of reflecting on these questions, turn your attention to what you can do to strengthen your community. This could be anything from checking in on a friend who is having a hard time, to watching a loved one's kids for the weekend, to setting up a mutual aid network. Remember that community is something we build by choosing to give our time and energy to the people we care about. Sometimes you might find that you need to receive support from your community instead of giving it, and this is totally okay. Healthy relationships are reciprocal, which means both people give as they can for mutual benefit. Reciprocity looks different for each of us based on our abilities and our resources and what's currently going on in our lives. It's normal to go through periods of being able to give more and periods of needing to receive more support. You might want to journal after this meditation on your community. Write down at least one actionable thing that you can do in the next few days to support your community. And make an effort to actually follow through on this. Remember that community is built by people getting out there and doing the work. Or the way I've seen this phrased on social media is, the price of community is inconvenience. But we also want to balance that with taking care of ourselves, listening to our bodies, resting when we need to, and asking for help when we need it. So I hope that this little ritual helps you to be more intentional about how you are showing up in your community and about the people that you are giving space and energy in your life. And I hope that it leaves you feeling supported and connected by the family and friends and community that you choose for yourself. And that is all that I have to share today. So until next time, I hope that you stay safe and remember that you are magical.